Neither one of them throw me over the hump or nothing. Unless something happened to Joe today. Anything happened to Joe today?
Offense, control the line of scrimmage. Be dominant. Communicate up front. Dominate with our size and athleticism. Ain't no time now to worry about what the outcome is. Don't look at the scoreboard. One play at a time. From the first play to the last play. Represent your shit.
Need a horn in the drum roll.
Turn up, yeah!
I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Now it's time to go to work. Season's over. A different time. I told you they remember November. But December's our time. December's we do what we do. That's Florida State time. We're back where we belong.
Let's get it on. Need a horn. Break it down. I never talk to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Either win 388 games, or I'm worried 389. Neither one of them throw me over the hump or nothing. Unless something happened to Joe today. Anything happened to Joe today?
Offense, control the line of scrimmage. Be dominant. Communicate up front. Dominate with our size and athleticism. Ain't no time now to worry about what the outcome is. Don't look at the scoreboard. One play at a time. From the first play to the last play. Represent your shit.
Need a horn in the drum roll.
Turn up, yeah!
I never talk to them boys that sat on them benches.
benches. I never talked to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches. Coach.
Now it's time to go to work. Season's over. A different time. I told you they remember November. But December's our time. December's we do what we do. That's Florida State time. We're back where we belong.
Let's get it on. Need a horn. Break it down. Turn up, yeah!
I never talked to them boys that sat on them benches. I never talked to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
What is up, my FSU family? The Bucs, that damn Tom Brady, who I am no fan of. The damn Tom Brady did it. That damn Tom Brady took the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl in Tampa, the first team in the history of the NFL to be playing a home game in the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay is hosting the bowl this year, and the Bucs made it. And they got a tall order. They got Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. But holy cow, Tom Brady did it. Now, granted, they really surrounded, they really invested in this roster with Tom Brady at the helm, unlike they did a certain quarterback who I won't talk about here, but we know. But that's neither here nor there. The hometown team is going to the Super Bowl. I wish I was back in Florida right now because I already know the city's going to be on fire. City's going to be lit. The 813 is going to be lit. So I'm excited to see the Bucs in the Super Bowl, man. I really am. Do I think they can beat the Chiefs? Probably not. But I'm excited to see it. So shout out to the Bucs. Siege the day, fire the cannons, all that good stuff. Let's see if they can bring Hillsborough County another Super Bowl championship. And with all that said, you are here on 863 Seminole TV. And I'm your host, POLK, a.k.a. Low Money, a.k.a. the goddamn truth. Do I have a lot of news and notes today? No, I don't. But over here on The Hangover, another episode of The Hangover. Why is it called The Hangover? Because we get lit on the weekends and we recover on this Monday/Tuesday. It rotates from Monday to Tuesday, how my schedule tends to open up. We had a solid weekend, guys. Before I get into the slight news and notes, it's been quiet on the Florida State front. But I got a little bit. Not a lot. Not anything major. I got a little bit. But we had a solid weekend. That basketball team dominated the Clemson Tigers. Dominated the Clemson Tigers. That game wasn't even close. FSU basketball is for real, folks, and the fact they're unranked is the biggest joke in all of sports to this point. I got a 4-loss Kansas team ranked in the top 10. And I can go down the list. FSU has 2 losses and we're not ranked. Come on. Come on, folks. And if you didn't check me out, we did a fight live stream. And watch Conor McGregor get put down, which shocked me. It just goes to show you that Conor McGregor's done. He made that money against Floyd, but he's never been the same ever since. Like don't let me say late, because Marvin Hagler is still alive. But like the former undisputed middleweight champion said, it's hard to keep your motivation when you waking up in silk pajamas. Conor McGregor made $100 million and he ain't been that same dude since. We did do a live stream, little fight party here. My first one. So we're going to learn from that one and we're going to grow with it and make it a little bit more entertaining. But I thought it got pretty good. Got pretty good by the end there. Started off slow. We picked it up. So we had a solid weekend. We had a pretty good weekend, man. Again, Conor McGregor gets put to sleep. Seminole basketball dominates. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get a roll call started. Let's see who's all in the building. And then we'll go on this little bit of FSU news. Again, I don't have a lot. It's been very quiet on the FSU front, really since FSU dominated that one weekend, two weekends ago when we killed the portal. Ever since then, it's been pretty quiet on the FSU front. So today's talking points, I'm gonna do a little bit of recruiting talk, mainly of 2 guys. A little bit of news on 2 guys. And then I want to take a look at this spring depth chart. That's what I want to do. I want to look at the spring depth chart. Who's going to be the major contributors and who's going to be starting in the spring that may not be starting in the fall once the entire roster gets on campus. I want to talk about that type of stuff. Who are some dark horses on this roster? I want to get everybody's thoughts on who's your sleeper. Who's the kid that nobody's talking about that might just emerge and be a starter, a star, a freshman All-American? Who are some of our sleepers? But let's hit this roll call up and then we'll get into all of that. 28 people in the chat. Hit the like button on your way in. Nicholas Johns in the building. Serve 5. Giuseppe, Rod Nixon, FSU Rose, Kane Zay, CD Vlogs, Mayan King, Kenny Zapata, 904, Todd Pope, and that is all we have right now. Again, go ahead and put yourself in the chat so you can get that make the roll call. All right, there we go. Montre in the building, Green Bay is in the building, and Bobby is in the building. 32 people in here. Hit the like button. First and foremost, as far as the news goes, I'm gonna read the tweet. Nico is on commit. I told you after his visit he was on commit watch. Nico's gonna make his decision this week. Nico, and I always butcher his last name, so I'm not even sure I'm saying his last name right, but y'all know exactly who the hell I'm talking about. Tyler in the building, Marcus Wright, Nico Marchiol. I always butcher that last name, but I think I'm actually saying it right. This is his exact tweet. Big announcement this week. Please, no interviews at this time, as I will be taking this time to talk with God, my family, and myself about my final decision. God bless. Nico is making his decision this week, folks. What do we think? I think it's coming down. The last 2 campuses he was on, Florida State and Florida, Gainesville and Tallahassee. That's the battle right now. What do we think? He's been crystal balled to Florida State for a while. There's no reason for me to think that crystal ball is changing as far as I'm concerned. And I'll take a drink. Nico's going to be a Seminole by the end of this week whenever he does decide to announce. If for whatever reason he pushes that commitment back, gets second thoughts, gets cold feet, that could not be a great sign. That could not be a great sign. But as of right now, Nico's going to be a Seminole. The other little bit of news I have, again, this is it. This is really all I got. Tywone Malone did make his trip to Ole Miss. Tywone Malone has had a couple. Joshua Burrell tweeted to Tywone Malone, remember what we talked about. Colby Gross tweets to Tywone Malone, hey now. There's kids right now actively recruiting Tywone. I don't know what that means. I'm not saying that gives us a nod. He was just on Ole Miss, I believe, this past weekend, from what I gathered. Normally, when you talk about how recruiting normally works around this time of year, in a normal situation, the school that gets the last visit gets the kid. That's usually how this thing works. The school that gets the last and final impression, they get the kid. I don't know if that holds true this year because it's completely different. Schools aren't even supposed to be having contact with these kids. They're allowed to visit the camp. They're allowed to visit the campus on their own, but there's not supposed to be any contact with coaching staff and all of that. It's gonna be very interesting to see how this one plays out. I do not expect Tywone Malone to be part of this class. At one point, I was leaning towards A&M. I think I am still leaning towards A&M, but Ole Miss did get that, and I'm not even sure it's the final visit. I would assume National Signing Day is next week, so I'm going to assume Ole Miss was the final visit. So one would say Ole Miss is the favorite. I kind of think A&M is the favorite, with Florida State third. He may prove me wrong, but that's really all the news that I really have for Florida State. Again, it's been very quiet for FSU on the football front, so there hasn't really been much to talk about. But I do want to look at this depth chart for the spring. And again, we're going to talk about some dark horses, some sleeper players, and some guys who aren't even on campus yet who could end up taking some of these starting positions, if at all possible. Let's see what anybody's talking about in the comments. Rod Nixon says, Polk, how many wins you expect this season? To me, anything less than 7, in my opinion, is a failure. I see Brown might be a starter and a surprise. Nico, FSU all the way. He was sporting FSU gear at he goes to Joel Osteen's church. Wow. Okay, so if he was rocking FSU gear, like I said, I expect Nico to announce Florida State by the end of this week. Does Nico even start at UF? I think let's assume Nico does commit. Now, granted, he's a 2022 guy, so he won't be playing this upcoming year. Who does UF have on that roster right now that scares Nico away? I don't think they have a soul on that roster that scares Nico away. Emory Jones? Maybe you like him. Not really high on Emory. Anthony Richardson might have some talent. Let's wait and see. Kid's very, very raw. And I don't know who they brought in this recruiting class. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to pull up the Gators recruiting class. I'm sure they got a kid or two coming in this year, but I don't know if there's anybody, if I'm Nico, that's going to scare me away from Florida. It's not like Florida's necessarily been killing the quarterback recruiting in recent years. So that's just my opinion there. And Bobby says we need defensive tackles. So that's why we'll see if Tywone Malone comes through. But let's start on the offense. And I'm going to read off the projected spring depth chart and how I think this may translate to the fall and who I think may ultimately end up being the starters at some of these positions. So hold on, let me pull it up. All right. So here's the depth chart at the quarterback room. No surprises here. We all know Milton's going to be the starter with Jordan Travis backing up, followed by Purdy and Rodemaker. I think that's pretty in line with what everybody thinks about each quarterback. Rodemaker seems to be the odd man out, which, again, that's not surprising. Purdy's the question mark, and what I mean by that is he's the guy I think that everybody thinks has all the potential in the world. How does he develop, and how does his maturation continue? Travis is another one who we know what he can do with his legs. Can he start developing as a passer to really compete with Mackenzie Milton, who by all means may be just the de facto starter? Not saying Mackenzie Milton isn't talented. We know he is. His resume and track record is proven. But this is really, to me, speaking of the quarterback position, this has a lot more to do with the fact that you have a guy, Mackenzie Milton, who you can give the reins to for a year and really push these other guys below him to develop. That's where I'm looking at it. Let's go to the running back room. And FSU's roster is extremely interesting because I don't know, and I could be dead wrong. Again, I only follow Florida State, but anybody can tell me. How does any other team list running backs and tailbacks as two completely different positions? Because right now, FSU's running back room consists of Ja'Shawn Corbin as a starter, DJ Williams, then Trayshawn Ward / Dante Sheffield. So Sheffield's coming back. Trayshawn Ward show some spark in that Duke game. When he got the opportunity, he made the most of it. So it was always good to see a guy finally get an opportunity and make the most of it. DJ Williams, we expect big things from him. I mean, I watched his tape against LSU, and he was LSU we're talking about, national championship LSU at that. Couldn't do anything with DJ. And of course, Ja'Shawn Corbin, who's the incumbent starter, who, I know everybody's not big on. Again, Ja'Shawn is still a solid contributor. And then the tailback position has Toafili as a starter, and these consist of the three freshmen, Toafili, Ja'Kai Douglas, and Corey Wren. Corey Wren is going to be the wild card, right? This is the guy that everybody asks. I feel like I get at least one or two Corey Wren questions every time I stream. Of where's Corey Wren? Why didn't we see Corey Wren? When are they going to use Corey Wren? What we're going to see in the spring. We're going to see, has he grown? Has he developed? He's going to get some spring carries. I don't know if that translates to the season. But with FSU not bringing in any other running backs except for DJ Williams, Corey Wren's going to have an opportunity here. He's not better than Toafili. And it remains to be seen if him and Ja'Kai Douglas are on the same level or not. They felt more comfortable using Ja'Kai Douglas last year as a receiver and just putting him out wide than they did Corey Wren. Corey Wren didn't get really any offensive snaps. They tried to put him on kickoff, and that didn't even look that great. So Corey Wren's going to be the wild card. And to me, it's all about how his body develops and all of that side. But that group right there, Douglas, Wren, Toafili, those are your freshmen. Those are your kind of future playmakers. And there's a lot of speed in that group too. So tailback and running backs are listed as different positions, which makes sense. It's just interesting to me, but it definitely makes sense, especially the way they utilize guys. Like they'll line up Ja'Shawn Corbin in the backfield and put Ja'Kai Douglas in the slot. There's no fullback in this scheme. That's why I think they rock the two running back system with the tight end. So I'll finish this out, then we'll hit the comments up. Tight end consists of Cam McDonald. Interesting here, Preston Daniel, that true freshman walk-on, and Wyatt Rector are at the number 2 on the depth chart behind McDonald. Jackson West, who's a true freshman, is on the depth chart. That is a shocker. Now, I don't expect Jordan Wilson. He's the UCLA guy. I don't expect them to really use him in the spring. Coming off an Achilles, he'll be working out. He'll probably have on like a green shirt, no contact. He'll be getting back in the swing of football, but don't expect him to really crack the depth chart. I do think when you talk about fall, he's probably number 2 on the depth chart when you're talking about fall. But Carter Boatwright, that a true freshman, got number 3 on the depth chart over a guy like Carter Boatwright, who was a tight end commit from last year, is interesting. And I believe Kobe Gross is an early enrollee, and he's a JUCO player. And again, Jackson West has beaten out Kobe Gross and Carter Boatwright for the 3rd spot on that tight end chart, in that tight end room. It's a very interesting to see. And I'm not so sure that's going to stack up, but we'll see, man. We'll definitely see how that plays out. Wide receiver room. Now, the wide receiver room, this is the one room who I would tell you right now, don't take anything. Anything might be a strong word, but take the wide receiver room from what we're going to witness in the spring coming up here in the next few months. I would take everything that you see with a big time grain of salt in this wide receiver room, because there's 2 players that aren't a part of this team yet who I think are going to be major contributors, and that's Parchment, who's going to get his degree at Kansas before making that trip to Tallahassee, and I am still standing by Dustin Hill being on this team. FSU will land Dustin Hill. Because right now it's Ontario Wilson, Keyshawn Helton, and Jordan Young at wide receiver, at one of the wide receiver positions. One of the 2. And I got to be honest with you, that don't scare nobody in the country, those 3 names I just read off. Those first 2 names, Ontario Wilson and Keyshawn Helton, they're good football players, not as number 1 wide receivers. If I can put either one of those guys in the slot, that's where I would prefer to put those guys. But as your number 1 guy, they're not scaring any defense. No defense has the game plan around Ontario Wilson or Keyshawn Helton. And Jordan Young is still a huge question mark. What will we ever get out of him? Right? None of those 3 guys scare me. I'm not sure any of those 3 guys would scare. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but like, I'm not sure any of those 3 guys would scare a Memphis. If FSU was playing Memphis or whatever, would that defense really have to scheme for Ontario Wilson, Keyshawn Helton, or Jordan Young? I'm not so sure about that. They gotta fix that. We know Parchment comes in there, and off the bat, he's number 1. And I think Hill is right behind him. So at the other wide receiver spot, they got Portier, Brian Robinson, Malik McLean, and the 2 freshmen are tied at the 3rd spot. Very interested to see Brian Robinson and him being healthy, what he's going to contribute. Portier played a lot of snaps last year, didn't have a lot of production. We'll see if that can change. And I think Malik McLean will be the most physically gifted wide receiver FSU has, especially in the spring. Again, 6'5", you don't just go out there and find a guy who's 6'5", can run like the wind with leaping ability. And I think people are sleeping heavily on that Joshua Burrell. Josh Burrell, that dude is 6'2", 212 pounds out of high school. He can be a bully as a wide receiver, especially in that red zone, in that end zone type situations. And oh my God, if we land Dustin Hill on top of those 2 guys, you got a solid freshman recruiting class coming in that I think is really going to compete and take some spots. We'll finish off with this offensive line, and then I'll hit the comments up and get you guys' thoughts on the projected offensive spring depth chart. At left tackle, this is another position that I'm going to say we're going to have a question mark. I still believe FSU is going to try to add a transfer portal piece here. If they don't, this is your possible starters: Darius Washington and Lloyd Willis. Those are your 2 left tackles. Now, Darius Washington, to me, he's more of a guard. The reason you don't have Devontae Love-Taylor here, he's still recovering from his injury. Come fall time, if you don't add a left tackle, Love-Taylor will most likely fill those shoes. Right now, I like Darius Washington. I think he's more of a guard. Lloyd Willis, I've said it before. If you want to talk about dark horse, that's mine. If you want to talk about sleeper, he's mine. Not because I have any tape on him that says otherwise. I don't have any tape on the kid. Nothing. I got nothing on him. This is all I know about Lloyd Willis. He's 6'7", 310 pounds, and that was coming out of high school. Probably a lot of that was baby fat. Well, a whole year into the weight program, let's see what that kid's looking like, because FSU doesn't have another offensive lineman on the roster that looks like him. He looks like a left tackle. He looks like an NFL left tackle. I'm not saying he plays like one. I'm not saying he's going to be one, but he has all the makings of one. The size, the weight, the arm length. He's got everything you want. The kid is massive. I'm looking at some inside the U tape on him. He's just the biggest kid on the football. Like, he is huge. Now, when I watch his tape, he looks very slow. So again, while he looks the part, can he play the part? Does he have the athletic ability to be a tackle? We'll see. That's probably the one dude that I'm probably the most excited about, if I'm being honest. Left guard, Dante Lucas, Thomas Schrader, 1 and 2. Can't argue any of that. Lucas will technically be a junior, but he'll be a sophomore because he won't lose that year. He's going to go into really his third year here at Florida State. And if there's Dante Lucas is built like an NFL caliber offensive lineman himself. If he keeps his head on straight and really continues to he's got that nasty streak. Dante Lucas got everything you want in your offensive lineman, nasty streak and all that stuff. He just has to control that emotion and point it in the right direction. We're good at left guard. Center, Maurice Smith and Bavion Johnson. I think Byron Estes is an early enrollee. And I've heard that they may be using Schrader at some center as well. But Maurice Smith is going to definitely get that starting spot. At right guard, as of right now, is Bavion and Zane Herring. And then at the right tackle, of course, is Robert Scott and Brady Scott. Well, I think Brady Scott is going to be a solid, as a redshirt junior, really being a fifth-year junior. Brady Scott is going to be a very solid body to keep, him and Bavion. Personally, I don't foresee Bavion starting. But those are good. Those are two good, solid bodies to keep on this roster. Let's get back to the chat, man. 44 people in here. I just talked. Let's get back to the chat and see what you guys think about that depth chart. We'll start with Rough Rider in the building. What's going on? Tyler says, I'm looking at Jackson West to get some burn. Danny Valles, what's up? Alo, at Memphis, Norvell coined a bunch of hybrid running backs and receivers. Sounds like that's what, that's what he uses that tailback position. He likes to put him out wide. That's what he's going with here. You know, I like it. I just like the fact that the whole thought process is get the playmakers on the field and we'll figure a way to get them the ball. So I'm cool. I'm cool with that. Tofili, if spelled right, that kid puts on weight. He's golden. I agree there. What about Douglas? CJ in the building. What's going on? We need to go after like players like Kelvin Benjamin size. Our tight ends are taller than our receivers. Now that Norvell has his guy at QB, the tight end position will be critical. 42 in the chat, 23 like. Hit the like button, folks. The troll has found his way back in here. Y'all go ahead and smack his ass out of here. What's up, T2Y? What's up, Pat? Mike Thompson. And Chris says, who do I think will be starting QB game? It's going to be Milton. Unless Milton has a setback injury-wise, there's no question. There's no question that it's a Mackenzie Milton. Anthony says, Ontario is all right wide receiver, but he needs to hit the weight room bad, gain some weight. I'm not saying him or Keyshawn Helton are bad wide receivers. They can't be your number one receiver. That's my issue. It's not that they're bad receivers, man. Your number one receiver cannot be Ontario Wilson or Keyshawn Helton. Again, name me a defense that's game planning to stop Ontario Wilson or Keyshawn Helton. Nobody's game planning for that. They don't have any attribute that says, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I got to stop that kid. It just, until we can get a legit, like from Tamarion Terry, at his best, you had the game plan for that. You had to have a safety over Tamarion Terry at most times. I think Parchment at 6'4" and can do some of the same things Tamarion can. I think Parchment is actually better than Tamarion Terry in some aspects. Where I think Tamarion Terry is the better athlete overall. I think Parchment does things like adjust to the ball in midair, has better hands than Tamarion Terry. I think that's a guy that you have to look and say, okay, if we can limit number 4, do they have another receiver that can hurt us? That's cool. But right now, there's not a receiver that they're putting out there that I'm like, that would worry me if I was a defensive coordinator. T2I, did you put Pinecone in your name, or somebody, is this like a troll account or something? Or did you really put Pinecone in your name? Is this really T2Y? Hurricane T2Y Pinecone. Okay. Kosi ain't starting over Milton. Kill that noise. If you ask Miami fans, FSU was interested in the Kosi Perry. I'm gonna tell you right here, right now, that's a damn bold-faced lie. FSU was not interested in N'Kosi Perry when he hit the portal. FSU did not pursue N'Kosi Perry when he hit the portal. Anything you hear otherwise is a lie. Hopefully, we don't have two route running to the same place this year. Bad play designs have been guys running right next to each other. Good point. Well, right now, do we need to fill out the slot from the portal? Because there's an amount of good playmakers in it. Kosi wouldn't hold Milton's jock strap. Which transfer wide receiver would be better impact, yours or ours? Perry, please stay. Right. That's what they want. I put it in there. It's me. Okay. I was like, marketing tool. Got you. I was like, I didn't know if it was you or somebody trying to troll you or something. But all right. So that's T2Y. Put Pinecone in his name. Polt, what player are you most excited about? Okay, offensively. We're not on the defense yet, so we're going to get to the offense. Offensively, I think the one guy that I'm most excited about that's on the roster right now, right? So not some of the guys that are coming, because there's, again, I'm excited to see Parchment. I'm excited to see Hill. But who's actually on campus on the roster right now? I mean, it's got to be Milton, right? I just want to see how he looks. When's the last time we watched some good quarterback play here? It's been that long. Since number 5? That's the last time we saw some good quarterback play. So I gotta. It's Milton for me. For me, it's Mackenzie Milton. I think I know what I'm getting out of every other position, to be quite honest with you. I know Toafili's the goods. I know my wide receivers until we get some infusion of talent is kind of subpar. And that they may be counting on some of those freshmen to really make an impact. Just my opinion. I know the offensive line is still growing. while I think Lloyd Willis may be a dark horse, I don't know if I'm excited to see him. We might be in trouble if we see him, but if he proves me right, then that'd be great to see. But I think it's got to be Mackenzie Milton has to be the guy that I'm most excited to see. Is he healthy? What's his game look like after 2 years of not playing football? Same arm strength, same accuracy? Is the game still slow to him? Or has he lost the feel of the game? Is the game now too fast for him after sitting out all this time? That's what I'm probably most excited to see. I heard that him and Milton kind of like rehab together. Apparently they were best friends at UCF. So I heard his leg has been doing fine as well. I set my floor expectations for this team at 7 wins. Anything less would be disappointing. That's got to be Gator Hater. I know Gator Hater always called him Pinecone too, but no, T2Y say that's him. Shout out to all my fake Jamaican Pinecones out there, Pat Stupid. That's a good question. That's a good answer to New King, Jordan. Who's throwing the ball to Rambo? Dennis in the building. What's going on? I think the Rambo kid is solid. Seen Oklahoma guy saying he couldn't catch though, so he'll fit in with Miami. Cat was up 2 a.m. begging Perry to stay. What a joke. We know. Most of the fan base was. Support Jordan always popping off at the mouth about Miami. No, Jordan don't do nothing, but Jordan wasn't talking about Miami. See, Dennis, you're not as Dennis. I let you stick around because you've been here from the jump. So I don't have too much of problems with you, Dennis. That damn New King, he comes in here every day. He don't add nothing to the conversation. He just started attacking. As soon as he attacked, my goons behind me, they come off and they cut him off at the head. So Jordan wasn't talking about Miami until New King came in with that foolishness. Milton by a mile since Blackman. I think you're trying to be funny, Bobby. QB, wide receiver, O-line, secondary. We address those issues. We watch out. No squad, what's up? In a year or two, we're gonna have the best backfield tandem in Chaney and Rooster. Green Guy T2Y has been a short time coming with you and Zoe. Milton will finally be rusty. Which side of the ball you think needs to improve the most? So we know which side has to improve the most. That's not even a question. Who had the better first year? Breaking news. Tate Martell named starting QB against Alabama. That would be devastating. That would be devastating. Henry Lee, he been trying for a while now. What up, AR? I'm surprised FSU's defense is bad. FSU football champion. It's my first time seeing you here, my friend. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Pinecone in the building. And on 904 says, Francois' freshman year was the last time we saw some good quarterback play. So that pretty much sums up the offense. Let's look at the defensive depth chart. Whoops. Yep, I got to bring it back up. Here we go. Now, the spring depth chart on defense at that famous Fox position, which quite frankly, I think they need to get rid of. Just put 4 down linemen in there and call it a wrap. Give me a break with this Fox and all this other crap. But right now they got Keir Thomas, number 1, followed by Dennis Briggs, and then Leonard Warner. Got no problem with Keir Thomas. I think I kind of would like more length. So if it was me, I might put Briggs there, move Keir Thomas inside, maybe put more length on the edge. That's just me, but it still remains to be seen how he plays. So I'm cool with both options, but I feel like one of those 2 guys I would like to play next to Coop or Lovett for that matter. At nose tackle, they got Coop and then True Thompson. No surprise there, especially with Coop. I think Coop's the most talented defensive tackle on the roster. And, yeah, he's going to be starting. Now, they do have Fabian Lovett at tackle. with Dennis Briggs, then Jarrett Jackson / Malcolm Ray. I honestly don't expect, I could be wrong, I don't expect them to play Lovett and Coop right next to each other. If I'm not mistaken, they didn't do it a lot last year. Now, the defense wasn't great last year, so maybe they're going to try something different. So that would make a little bit of sense. But I don't recall them playing Lovett and Coop next to each other that much. I think Coop is an NFL level talent. I don't know. It's still, I think the still remains to be seen on Lovett. I think he definitely has all the measurables. I would kind of want Lovett to back. I would want Lovett to spell Coop, in my opinion, and have Keir Thomas or Dennis Briggs playing next to one of those two guys on a regular basis. But I could see them putting 2 300+ pound defensive tackles in there to kind of eat up space, maybe against the run. So I see both ways. We'll see if we ever get anything out of Malcolm Ray this year. And that Louisville transfer, Jarrett Jackson, we'll see if we get anything out of him as well. And we're not going to mention the freshmen, but they got a couple freshman defensive tackles or defensive ends who they're going to use as D tackles. They're going to put the weight on, so to speak. And we'll see if they can crack this rotation as well. But maybe Malcolm Ray finally gets a chance to make his way into this rotation and maybe make some noise. And at the defensive end spot, you got Jermaine Johnson, Derek McClendon, Quayshawn Fuller, and Josh Griffiths. We know Jermaine Johnson is going to start. The question is, who's going to be the guy next up? I thought Derek McClendon played fairly decent in his snaps. Was he great? No. Did I see progress throughout the year? Yes. Quayshawn, I don't know. I don't know if we'll get anything out of Quayshawn. Quayshawn, to me, is one of the guys I think they should put the weight on and move him inside. But maybe he's found a groove here, and we'll see what he can do in spring, maybe to crack that defensive end rotation. And Josh Griffiths played a lot of snaps early, and they kind of went away from him later in the year. I don't know if he fell out of favor or kind of what happened there. I remember Josh Griffiths playing a lot of snaps early in the year, and they kind of went to guys like Derek McClendon over Josh Griffiths later on in the year. And we'll see if Josh Griffiths can get back into the good graces and crack that rotation. At Mike linebacker, Dix and Lundy, which I think is accurate. To me, at no point do you put Dix and Lundy on the field at the same time. So that makes sense to me. At that will linebackers, Emmett Rice, Gaynor, and McCray. Now, this is interesting. I would almost put Emmett Rice at Mike and put Gaynor here. And those would be my two linebackers to start the season off. Not because I don't believe in Lundy. I think maybe those might be the most two athletic guys in Rice and Gaynor. I think I'd be very interested to see, can McCray get back on the field? He seemed to really not lose a lot of snaps last year. McCray didn't seem to really make an impact at all. What the spot they need to get rid of is this stud linebacker, where they have Gaynor listed as a starter with the Loach backing him up. If Gaynor's playing this stud crap again, well, I guess he won't be on the field just like he wasn't on the field last year. Get away from the stud thing. 4-2-5. 4 down linemen. Give me 2 backers. Gaynor needs to be one of those 2 backers. And then you can play Gaynor again next to Rice or Dix for all I care. I don't care which one you put him next to. But Gaynor needs to be on the field. Get rid of the stud crap and just give me a straight nickel, which at nickel, of course, we got Jamie Robinson. That's your glorified linebacker / extra DB, Jamie Robinson, which I do think he has the physicality to play that position, followed by Jarvis Brownlee and Kevin Knowles. At that boundary spot, they got Brandon Moore, who I figured would be, I said it in my last stream, if Brandon Moore is completely healthy, I think he actually is probably the best corner on the entire roster. I think he's the most talented corner on the roster from what I've watched from him. So him starting makes sense. They got him followed by Jarquise and then Jerry and Jones. And then at The field corner, they got Brownlee, Damori Tate, Akeem Day, and Miko Dotson. Dotson, we'll see if he's healthy. Brownlee is going to be the starter, I think, to start camp. Damori is going to make all those guys earn their spot. I think Damori is going to come out with a vengeance in spring camp. And do not write off Akeem Dent. I still think Akeem Dent has a lot of untapped potential we could see. And then at the Buck safety, they got Travis J. They do have Jamie Robinson also being a safety, but they got Travis J., Jamie Robinson, and then Sidney Williams, who played a lot of snaps down the stretch. Sidney Williams played solid down the stretch. And then at the field safety, you got Ronaldo Green and Brandon Gant. I think Brandon Gant may end up the starter there. Nothing against Ronaldo. Interesting to see that there's still no Green McKnight on the roster. But yeah, that is your defensive depth chart. So let's hit up the chat and see what y'all think about that defense. Kane, Zay, we're not trying to kill y'all. Y'all boys came in here with that energy. First is Milton. Second is the excitement about the way we use Travis. This offense should be very unpredictable. Good point, Sniper. Fun fact, Miami are 1-11 in the last 12 bowl games. Man, I was just listening to that 5-hour post you did. Jaws dropped. That 5-hour post you did, Jaws dropped, but not surprised. Oh, he's talking to T2Y. New King. Not with, okay. Yep, we did pick up y'all's defensive ends, AR. Yeah, he transferred. So many hybrid positions on that defense. Yeah, we have to stand. We have a stand-up 270-pound DN. No, he needs to be hand in the dirt. The hell with that. Henry Lee. I thought he could bully me. Okay, they're still talking about that. Miami's best offensive lineman is a 10. Okay, are we gonna talk about this defense, or are we just gonna keep going back and forth with these Miami guys? Let's find some actual. Yeah, they lit because they going at each other's head. Oh man, let's see if we can see anybody actually wants to talk some defense. Anthony says, did Jarrett Jackson? I don't think he played at all last year, Anthony. I can't recall him on the field at all last year. William Washington, what's going on? Thomas better not be dropping back in the coverage. I completely agree with you there. Amari Gaynor should be playing in. See, I was originally on that thought process that make Amari Gaynor your pass rusher, okay? But I'm looking at the way they're building the defense. They're not putting a guy like Amari Gaynor on the edge. What they want to do with Gaynor is make him a hybrid safety linebacker. Well, to me, that doesn't work. If you're not going to play Amari Gaynor at edge, on the edge, rushing the passer, which is, I think, where most people would put him first and foremost, then stand him up at traditional linebacker and let him make plays there. But I don't need him playing a position that I don't even think they know how to use that position. Get rid of that stud position. To hell with the stud position. Just give me a nickel. The stud position, I don't want to hear it. Because you ain't even shown me that you know how to use it. What about Dante Williams? He wasn't listed on the depth chart. And I don't recall him playing much last year myself. I'm finna get in these streets. We are y'all most important game next year. Circle the calendars. We coming up to dope. Yeah, I kind of agree with Jordan. I mean, look, what was I finna say? Damn, I forget what I was finna say. The Notre Dame, okay, the Miami game is always going to be important because it's the rivalry, but Notre Dame's going to be the game for us to see where this team has grown. Did the team grow at all? Did we grow or did we stay stagnant or did we get worse? So the Notre Dame game is probably going to be the most important game for us because that's going to be the first game where people get to put eyes on Mackenzie Milton and on all of these new pieces that FSU is going to be using. Henry Lee say, why am I acting like an ESPN dude? I just act like I always act when I come on here, man. CJ, ain't nothing out there in those streets. CJ always in them streets. 4 down linemen, definitely. None of our linebackers can guard a tight end or stop crossing routes in front of them. That's why I say you don't put Dix and Lundy on the field at the same time. And that's why I would give me Gaynor and maybe Rice as your 2 starters just to start the season and see how they do better in coverage. Because that is the biggest weakness of our defense, is that our linebackers can't cover a lick, not a damn. They can't cover nothing. And that's why I think Gaynor may benefit the most by playing traditional linebacker. Hold up. Chat skipped on me, so let me get back to where we are. Okay, there we go. POLK go live with us for the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. I might be working on the Super Bowl. If I'm not working, I might hop on there. My wife was also talking about if I'm not working, they trying to have a Super Bowl, like a little Super Bowl party. So I might be because my wife went to school in Tampa. She went to USF, so I might be kind of booked for that Super Bowl day. We better find a role for Gaynor. I absolutely agree there. Nothing on defense matters until Fuller's gone. You're not wrong there. My boy True Thompson makes splash plays this season. Dix has got to get better at pass recognition. Absolutely. Stop. Miami is not the most important. It's Notre Dame. It's Notre Dame because they're just the first game, and we get to see what this team look like. Really need Gaynor at that Keir Thompson position and move Keir Thompson to tackle. Is Notre Dame QB coming back? No, I think Ian Book's gone. I think that entire offensive line gonna be gone too. We play Notre Dame first game of the season. That's why it's the most important game. Our cornerbacks can't cover. No Samuel, bail y'all out. So we're going to step up in the secondary. The secondary will improve when the pass rush improves. Until the pass rushing improves, that secondary is going to continue to struggle. It's going to start up front. Notre Dame picked up the Wisconsin transfer QB. I don't even know who that is. I didn't watch any Wisconsin football, so I have no idea if Wisconsin's any good, if that guy was any good. Henry Lee coming in here with bullshit. I truly hope FSU recruits don't look at POLK channel. He makes us look corny as fuck. So what's corny to you, Henry? Talking actual football, or you want to talk about some bullshit? Because you're free to go wherever the hell you want to go there, homie. Ain't nobody ever asked you to come over here and watch this shit. So by all means, bye. Since it's so corny, dip out. Since y'all Miami want to come over here and hate, I'm going to go over to Hurricane Zoe and tell him Miami is going to beat Alabama by 100. Hopefully McCray does something this year. Hell, our linebackers got to be better at run recognition. I'm not hating. I'm just defending. Can't get on my canes like that. Man, the season is over. Bro, then go. You still here though. You still here talking. I got 45 people in here that talking football, but the season over. 47 now, and the number keep going up and down. So what the hell are you talking about, though? What are you talking about? The season over. Then go watch some basketball. Go watch something else, bro. I ain't asked you to come in here. I'm about to cut him out. I'm about to cut him out because he's just talking bullshit. 50 people in here want to talk football, but the season over. Marvin Wilson loss hurt us. We'll see. He definitely was. He didn't play up to par last season, but we'll definitely see. You know, Polk, one player who I think was going to surprise. One player who I think is going to surprise a lot of people is Jerrion Jones. He's going to fix his mechanics. Once that happens, he's going to be a force. I hope so. He had a bunch of hype. Yeah, and don't come back either. Nigga come in here talking crazy and then talking about man, get the hell out of here, dog. Nobody asked you to come in here. Hell, he think he is. Yeah, I shouldn't have gave that bitch no energy. You right. Who is this dude, man? Get him out the chat with that foolishness now. Good vibes over here. So that's what we had today. We talk crap, but it's respect in every aspect. So anyway, you always got one person that want to come over here and try somebody gangster. I'm always positive over here, bro. I don't get into it with nobody. You get a clown that come over here and want to talk some shit. And I ain't ask him to be here. Go watch some other, I don't know. Go watch whoever you like. Yeah, bro. It's always that one. I come in here on a Monday to talk some football with 51 people in here that want to talk football, but somehow the season over, stop talking football. Bet. Man, that's kind of pissed me off, man. Baseball is ranked number 9 overall before the season. When does the baseball season start, Tyler? Poke, you the man, bro. Keep this shit up. No gang. It's always that one person that know nothing about football. 10-year-old IQ. Did you see Peyton, a future Mike linebacker? Ooh, no. Patrick Peyton? With that type of length? No, not at Mike. That's definitely a guy that you're going to want to have on the edge. That's definitely a guy that you're going to want to have on the edge rushing the passer. Patrick Peyton. Now, it's been some talk that they're recruiting him as a linebacker type instead of a DN type. So that's, again, with Adam Fuller, you never know. With Adam Fuller, man, you never know. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see that. I think Peyton's he's an edge rusher. I definitely ain't got to explain myself, Rod. It's just the principle of the thing. It's not explaining myself. It's just showing y'all what it is. And I didn't see Henry Lee around other chats before. And he always come around with that fake phony ass energy. So if you want to come in here and listen. But don't come in here and tell me what the fuck I'm supposed to talk about on my shit. With 50 people in here who want to hear the same talk and talk about the same stuff. I could see if I had 10 people in here or 20 people in here, like one of the buddies that he watches on a regular basis. But no, we doing numbers over here, man. We building something over here. Don't come in here and tell me what the hell I'm supposed to talk about. He done got me a little heated. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. About to bring that Polk County out of me. We should use Peyton this year. Also, Rose, that's exactly what I think. I think from the jump, Peyton and George Hill, you should use them on primarily pass rushing situation to pin their ears back, rush the passer. I agree wholeheartedly right there. Leonard Warner's going to be moving to that Fox position, whatever that means. But no, he'll be playing more defensive end, maybe like a stand-up defensive end than a linebacker. Peyton going to be a problem. Y'all says you got some petty dudes. They came through the portal. Some pretty good dudes. They came through the portal to half hour defense. So they should be better, but it's a wait and see. But I have confidence in the offense will score a bunch of points. Even if the offense scores a bunch of points, man, if we can't stop nobody, it's hard for me to pick FSU winning 7, 8, 9 games. If we can't stop nobody, if we can make some stops, I'll feel a lot more comfortable. That's why the Notre Dame game is the most crucial game of the season, because it's gonna set the tone. It's gonna set the tone and see what they fixed. Probably switching to the 4-2-5, so Peyton and George Wilson should be rush outside linebackers. I can't wait for April 10th. What's April 10th? What's April 10th? Oh, is that the spring game? That's a spring game, right? April 10th is a spring game, yeah. I don't matter if we only had one nigga in here, but he better move the fuck out. He ain't nobody then. Yeah. He gone. We ain't worried about him no more. He gone. What has Adam Fuller done on his resume? I agree 100% FSU football. Adam Fuller don't even deserve the job. Like, we've talked about his resume on this show plenty of times. Fuller don't deserve the job. Coaching at Assumption. Anybody know where Assumption is? Assumption and Marshall. Those are his coaching stops. Polk about to go Uncle Elroy. Baseball starts on the 19th against North Florida. I'm still shocked Lars Woodbay didn't work out. That injury, man, he was kind of really never the same after that injury. Who would be your final pick in the portal for me? It's got to be an offensive tackle. It's got to be an offensive tackle. I see Peyton and Brown, my dark horses on defense. Rose says, I thought Assumption was just the word. Right. I didn't even know Assumption was a school until I saw it on Adam Fuller's resume. I was like, what is this? But apparently it's a school somewhere, unless anybody knows where that's at. With all these new upgrades, the issue is still Fuller. We'll score 30, but give up 35. I don't even disagree with you, my man. Until I see anything different, I do not disagree with that. If we don't get 7 games, somebody got to get fired. You're not wrong. If we let Notre Dame, with an entirely brand new offensive line and a brand new quarterback, if we let Notre Dame score 50, 60, well, that's extreme. But if Notre Dame's at 38, 40 points, Fuller should be fired then and there on the spot. Akeem Dent needs to show his star rating, or I see him hitting the portal after this year if he gets no playing time. Though that backfield is that DB room is packed. That DB room is packed, bro. If he don't show up, yeah, he's not gonna get any playing time. Might as well put high school team on that resume. You ain't lying, Tyler. Do you think he have any chance at Malone? I think it's gonna come down to the wire, man. But quite honestly, I don't see Malone. I don't see Malone being a Seminole. I don't see it. I'm so glad Fuller has a 1. Yeah, that's another thing too. And I hate to say it, they may end up letting Fuller just coach that entire year next year, because I think next year's his last year on his deal anyway. So even if the defense doesn't improve, do you really want to fire a guy and I guess pay a buyout when you could just let him walk for free? we hire people who have bad resumes. If we go 6-6 next season, what's y'all take on Norvell? We got to see. First of all, 6-6 would be an improvement. Let's not kid ourselves. I know that's not what we want to hear. 6-6 would be an improvement from what we just saw this past season. With that said, I got to see how, again, what aspects of the team is improving. And if we go 6-6 next year, but the offense averaged 40 points a game, but the defense gave up 450 yards a game like it did this past year and over 40 points a game like it did this last year, Norvell's got to make the change defensively, but it's obvious that his offense, the man can coach offense and his offense improved. Now, if they look exactly like they look this year, bad offense, bad defense, then yeah. But we just got to look and see how the game is played, man. That Notre Dame game, they're going to have to stop the run because we couldn't stop it this year. Why would Kelly do any? I don't disagree, man. Why would he change anything? Until you prove you can stop it, why change it? We will know where the defense is before halftime. If they put 35 in the half, he should be fired. I'm not. Absolutely. Assumption is a nonprofit school in Worcester, Mass. Brian Kelly is an alum. Every day you learn something new. I had no idea that. Thank you, Dwayne. Every day you learn something new. Canes for life, what's going on? The defensive side of the ball needs to improve tremendously. Polk, what it looks like now of getting who's the dude, man, that everybody takes to the bank? Rose knows who I'm talking about. Everybody takes his word to the bank when he talks recruiting. Wolfong, that's his name. He still has Dustin Hill coming to Florida State, and he's the guy that broke the George Wilson. Pretty much, is it Wolfong? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Pretty much wherever this guy says kids going, they usually end up going there. So he still has Hill to Florida State. So I'd say it looks pretty damn good. Wiltfong, there you go. Wiltfong. Wherever he says a kid goes, that's like 9 times out of 10, he's right on the money with his predictions. Wiltfong, as of like last week, put out an article where he still expects Florida State to be the landing spot for Dustin Hill. Rod Nixon says, wait a minute. Chat jumped on me. I'm going to come back to that one, Kane Zay. Rod Nixon says, now that half of the roster's flipped, can we stop with this bad apples? I've been saying that. There's no excuse on personnel this upcoming year. The man ain't got no excuse when we talking about personnel. We talking about the spring roster, Wanda. And what are our projections for the spring roster? Who's going to shine? Who's going to come out of nowhere? That's the type of stuff we talking about. But Kane says, we go 6-6 next year. Man, he got to clean out his locker. He better go undefeated. I mean, you know he's not going undefeated. But I hear what you're saying. You can't go 6-6. I'm hearing 4-star Nico going to pick FSU later this week. Yep, we talked about him earlier. He is making his decision sometime later on in the week. And I expect it to be the Seminoles. UMass game kind of looks bullshit. Hell no. Questionable how? What are you talking? Do you mean questionable as in they won't play it? Because if we play it, that's a win. Ain't no questions there. Now, if you want to talk about that the game might not be played, maybe because of COVID or something, that's a whole different topic. If that game's played, ain't no questions about the UMass game. Hill is a null. Malone is down to Ole Miss and us. I still think A&M's in there, Dwayne. Now, I could be wrong. I still think A&M's in there, though. And Kusami Hayes makes his presence felt. 44 people, man. Hit the like button if you haven't already. As we continue to do what we do and how we do it, even when the clowns come in here and try to stop our shine, we don't let that happen. We continue to rock. What do you think if we get Malone and can't get an offensive tackle due to numbers? I'm not going to lie, bro. I don't even know how I would feel about that because I still think I have a hard time believing you land Mackenzie Milton and you don't address the offensive line at all. Now, they did recruit Rod Orr and Estes, but that's two guys. Mackenzie Milton coming off of an injury where he damn near lost his leg, and your number one priority wasn't to block for this guy to the best of your ability. I want Malone as much as the next guy, but I still think Malone is a luxury. If you had to tell me to pick between one of the two last high school players that FSU's kind of in the running for, I would take, and I usually don't do this. Usually, give me the blue chip defensive tackle because I believe you changed the game in the trenches, offensive line or defensive line. I think you changed the game in the trenches. But on this team and how I'm looking at the way this team's being constructed, I need Destin Hill over Tywone Malone. I would love to have them both, but not at the expense of upgrading the offensive line. So I don't know how I would honestly feel about that. I honestly don't know how I'd feel about that. That's dope. I heard that too. I heard that Nate. I didn't hear that exactly, Juwan, but I did hear that. I saw a bunch of people tweeting online saying, "Bring Nate Andrews home." So if he's coming back to Florida State to be a GA, that's awesome. Malone has been in contact with our players. Yeah, no, I was talking about that earlier, Rough Rider. They've been tweeting him. Joshua Burrell, I think Amari Gaynor, guys, Kobe Gross, they've been tweeting at him. I still think Malone's a luxury. I want the offensive line over Malone, but that's a good problem to have, I guess. If we can get Malone and Hill and maybe miss out on offensive linemen, well, they better. I hope they're developing. Then Lloyd Willis has to step up, or Rod Orr has to come in and play, year one, if that's the case. Somebody's going to have to step up then on that offensive line. I guess that's my take on it. If you're going to miss out on the offensive lineman, maybe they are completely confident in what they have there already. Lawrence Toafili, our running back, about to break out. I hope so. I heard about a huge surprise from one of our 4 recruits talking about getting a huge packet. If we can get Malone and Hill, look, I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. And if Malone and Hill probably puts us back in the top. It put us back in the top 25 for sure. It probably put us back in the top 20 if we land both of those guys. They got to address that tackle position, man. New subscriber. Hey, man, thank you for the support. I remember the last time you had a chat. I like this channel. Was looking for this. Glad I found it again. Hey, man, thank you. Give me an O lineman over Malone. Absolutely. POLK. Who is Nico? Are they looking at that QB, Travis Hunter? He's offered a scholarship. You're talking about, is it Gunner? I know the QB you're talking about. I'm bad with names, but I know who you're talking about. He has a scholarship offer. Nico's the kid from Arizona, Panama. Nico Marchiol. Again, I think I always butcher that last name, but he's the kid from Arizona. But I think they're going to take 2 quarterbacks this cycle anyway. They can get Nico out the way early. I still expect them to fully recruit some other quarterbacks. That's got to be the message. Like, look, you can commit, but we plan on taking 2. There's going to be some competition. I expect there to be some competition. We need receivers at FSU. Absolutely. That's why I want Hill over Malone. I did not want to change the subject, but today is the 1-year recovery from my massive heart attack and surgery. Well, congratulations to Todd. 1-year recovery. Now you're healthy. I mean, what more is there to want, I guess? But I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad to hear that you recovered and are living, a good life. Assumably, I'm assuming you're living a good life, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm just glad that glad to see that you recovered, man. It sucks that you had to go through a heart attack. He said massive heart attack, and you had to have surgery, man. I know that was a scary time for you and your family, but I'm glad that you recovered, man. Anything on Woodson, that that rumor talk has calmed down. I haven't heard anything on Woodson going to UGA since it's been kind of rumored out there. So no, I haven't seen anything. How many spots we got left to sign recruits? It's so it's up in the air. The consensus thought on the spots left is 2 to 3. So officially, FSU can sign 2 more people in this class. They have 24 committed. The transfers count towards the scholarships. So they have 22 people committed, 24 committed, 26 spots. However, the thought process from the staff is they can take 27 and make it fit. One spot isn't going to be the end all be all, is what I'm hearing. I would say 22 to be safe. But I'm hearing they could take a third one and make the numbers work, so to speak. So maybe they can take Tywone Malone and Hill and maybe still take an offensive tackle and make the numbers work. Todd Pope, congrats. Panama Jack, FSU's top priority at QB is MJ Morris, in my opinion, and Nico will be the second take. I think we watched MJ Morris. Was it MJ Morris we watched on here? Pretty good. No squad says we won't get Malone. I don't expect us to, but it's good to talk about it. Will Hilton have the brace off? I hope so. He's a different player if he has the knee brace off. Gunnar Stockton decommitted. Yeah, that's the guy. I don't think FSU's even really in the mix for him, to be honest with you, but I know he has a scholarship offer. Right down the street from my house, Hamilton High School. I'm not high on Nico. I like MJ Morris and then take Sam Horn. Now, I would take Nico over Sam Horn, but I agree with people that want MJ Morris to be the priority. The question is, would Nico come if we still took MJ Morris? If not, then I could see him going after a guy like Sam Horn as a backup plan. But they're gonna take 2 quarterbacks. I'm almost positive on that. Sam Horn played with Travis. Yes, he does. What up, Matt Will? Yes, sir. Great news from Todd. Helton won't have the brace on, and Milton's brace is coming off this spring. So what happened to that old lineman Lewis, who I haven't heard? So Juwan Lewis or something like that, offensive tackle out of Tennessee. I don't even know if Lewis was his last name. But the offensive lineman out of Tennessee was the last offensive lineman FSU was kind of really in the running for. And I haven't heard any he hasn't announced yet to my knowledge. And I haven't heard any more updates on his recruitment. This channel is fire. The only FSU chat I could vibe in. Thank you, Kane Zay. I heard Sam Horn is more likely to pursue a baseball career over football. That's interesting. Todd Pope, you blessed, bro. Stay up. Absolutely. Let's use Travis as a running back. Be gadget. Well, I think they're going to use that man, running back, receiver. They're going to get the ball in his hands, period. If they're smart, you get it. You get the ball in his hands. I like MJ Morris better than Nico. Rough Rider said something about Louisiana Tech. Not sure. Oh, okay. You're talking about the Louisiana Tech offense. That one I don't know anything about. Again, the last lineman I know they were kind of really pursuing, and I won't say pursuing, but they had interest in was the guy out of Tennessee. Johnson was his last name, and I heard he's not a fit. Sam Horn should be the third option. FSU football, 23 national championship. I can see them using JT, and they got to use him some way. You got to get him on the field. Honestly, Sam Horn only getting buzz like that because of Travis. I agree with Rose. Not saying Sam Horn isn't a good player or can't be a good player with the right school, the right development. But Sam Horn, you know, I hate to say it like this, but he's a name because of who he plays with on that team. He plays with the most electrifying player in high school. That's why people know who Sam Horn is. I probably wouldn't put him on the punt returns. But I would definitely use him in a wildcat, line him out wide. Hell, you can do a little trick plays where you throw it out to a quick screen to Jordan Travis and then have him go over top as long as that ball's thrown behind the line of scrimmage. They can definitely use him in those type of packages. I don't know if I put him on kickoff or punt returns or anything too crazy. Horn didn't look good in that state championship. Again, we know who's the star of that team and who makes who look good. Who makes who look good on that team. So again, this is not a knock on Horn. I'm not saying Horn can't be good or won't be good. But the star on that team is Mr. Travis Hunter. Do you think if Deion was our coach, he would be on fire recruiting as he is in JSU? Recruiting. This is a big topic for FSU fans. Deion and recruiting is never going to be an issue. The thing that's going to come down, like at Florida State, the playing field would be entirely different. I'm not saying he can't or wouldn't recruit at FSU because, like I said, recruiting is never going to be an issue for Deion. But remember, Willie Taggart was supposed to be an elite recruiter too. And to Willie Taggart's credit, if you check the first 2 years, he was in the mix for the Savell Smalls, the Thibodeaux. All the top prospects had FSU in the mix. He just was showing trash on the field and he couldn't seal the deal because we weren't just losing, but we were looking lost on the field. And then you had, the stuff on the practice field with the kids. Like, there was a lot of stuff going around that program that lured, that pushed kids away. No organization, no structure, so on and so forth. So the recruiting wouldn't be a problem for Deion. The question is could he hire the right people to win games? At JSU, not only is he going to be able to recruit, but just off of him recruiting, JSU is going to be the most talented team every time they step on the field. He's going to win games at JSU. The question for Deion is going to be when he takes that leap to the bigger programs, more competitive conferences, more competitive school. Can the recruiting keep up with the lack of coaching, or can he hire the right coaches? If you guys get what I'm trying to say, I don't ever question his recruiting, but you still need a certain level of coaching here. Because again, Willie Taggart could recruit, and as a matter of fact, look at that team. Willie Taggart first inherited it. It had a Cam Akers on it. It had a DeAndre Francois. It had a Tamarion Terry. It had Hanson Nasruddin. It had Marvin Wilson. I just named a bunch of NFL players. Hanson Nasruddin, Marvin Wilson, Tamarion Terry, Cam Akers. You see what Cam Akers is doing in the pros? It had these guys. And not too many teams can name a list off of, even some of your best teams can't name 4 or 5 or 6 NFL talents on it. And I just did. And you still see the outcome. They can use Travis like how we going to use King, because I don't see him starting one game. Travis or King? I think King is going to start, man. I don't think he's going to start the season because I don't think he's going to be ready. But who else is going to be y'all quarterback if it's not De'Aaron King? Now, as far as Travis, I don't think Travis is going to start a game for us unless Milton gets hurt. But Travis won't start a game for us. Are we in on McCall? He recently decommitted from Florida. Oh, yeah, they're recruiting him. That's Adelaide Gibson at Lakeland, Florida. They're recruiting him. If Deion was here last year, we had the record we did. I don't even want to know what fans. I agree. That's another reason why I didn't want Deion to come to Florida State. Not until he's kind of proven some more. Everybody loves Prime until Prime goes 3-6. Everybody's going to love Prime until Prime goes 3-6. And then, oh my God. So I agree there. I agree with Tyler. Like, I love Deion. I would love him to come eventually again, but prove it. If it's a proven hire, I'm all for it. Right now, to me, Deion isn't a proven hire. But yeah, you can't go 3-6. I don't care if you're Deion Sanders or whoever. You can't go 3-6. Where did Blackman, a.k.a. the Bean? I don't think Black has made a decision on the transfer yet. I could be wrong there, but I haven't kept I haven't kept up with that. Rose, my question is, what position will Travis Hunter play? Because that kid is gifted on both sides. We've talked about that, Panama. And my answer is wherever the hell he wants to play. If Travis Hunter want to play wide receiver, you let him play it. If he wants to play DB, you let him play it. Now, I think for his NFL career, I think he's probably more of a DB. He can be where I think he could be a good wide receiver in the NFL. I think he could be an elite DB in the NFL. Now, that's very early for me to say without ever seeing that guy play a snap of college ball. That's very early for me to say, but I'm just looking at measurables and some of the other things. But I think he probably projects better at DB at the next level. But I think in college, let him play both. Now, you don't let him play. You even up the snaps so he's not playing a million offensive snaps. But if you start him at DB, cool. He should get 5, 6, 7 targets a game on offense, maybe. And maybe that's a lot. Maybe that's a lot. But whenever he comes in on offense, you got to think he would be a focal point. But I think you just let him play where he wants to play. I got a scary feeling Garcia going to have to start. I don't know what Perry doing. I don't think any of the Hurricane fan base knows what Perry's doing. I've heard that Perry was coming back, only to hear that he's only coming back to finish his degree and that he's still going to be in the portal. So, yeah, until Perry, I guess, makes up his mind, right, nobody knows who's going to be starting for quarterback for y'all. A player like Hunter, you let him play wherever he wants, right? He's better at DB. What's good, Polk? No Nation at work. Go Bucs. Ardavius Hall, I like him at wide receiver. Travis Hunter looks like a mix of Ramsey and Cromartie. That's big compliments right there. Let Hunter play both ways here. Polk, Sean Payton said, James Winston will be our QB1 for the Saints. No joke. That's good to hear. My only problem with that is the Saints are kind of cap stricken right now. I don't know. Do they have money to improve that team? But I think quite honest with you, I think the Saints were good enough to beat the Bucs. The Saints were good enough to at least make the NFC Championship. Drew Brees couldn't throw the ball 10 yards in that game. And that's what killed the Saints. So year 2 under Sean Payton, I'll be rooting for Jameis. You already know that. What position group do you think averaged the most receptions per game? Oh, why running backs? Our leading receiver was a running back. Ja'Shawn Corbin led the team in receiving yards. So running back, without me looking up the stat, running back. I almost guarantee you it's probably running backs. We didn't have one wide receiver that had 300 yards receiving. Not one. I think Terry led the team with about 2 something, and he didn't even play a few games. What about Tate Martell? He's like that girlfriend that can make up their mind, but what dress they should wear out. I think again, I'm not a Miami fan, but I think I heard Tate Martell was coming back to play receiver, not quarterback. I think NFL is getting Saints back for Bountygate. I mean, the Saints, if Drew Brees could throw, the Saints could have won that game. So I don't know if it's an NFL thing. Tate Martell is a sad example of the con of the transfer portal. I knew Tate Martell wasn't the goods. Kane Zay. I'm going to tell you when I knew Tate Martell wasn't the goods. I knew Tate Martell wasn't the goods when he tweeted at Justin Fields when Justin Fields made his decision to come to Ohio State. He tweeted at Justin Fields, and I don't remember the exact tweet, but it was something to the effect of, I'm not scared of the competition, or you're not coming in here taking my job. It was something to that effect. Pretty sure people know what I'm talking about. Only to then transfer out. That's when I knew Tate Martell was a joke. What up, 226 Tim? What's popping? Novell needs to call Jimbo and get Texas A&M on the 2023 season. 2023, man, we start the season with LSU. So no, we're not gonna play A&M. We got a home and home with LSU, I believe, the next 2 years after this year. But I would like to see us play Texas A&M one day in the future. But I think for the next few years, our schedule's kind of packed. Because I think we got LSU the next 2 years. We got Notre Dame this year. Then I think it's LSU, and I think we got Bama again after LSU. I could be wrong there. I could probably look it up. But I'm almost positive it goes Notre Dame, 2 games with LSU, and then Alabama. If only DJ Lundy was good in coverage. Same thing with Dix. If Dix was good in coverage, Dix would be talked about as one of the better linebackers in the country. I knew Martell wasn't good during the Netflix series he was on. He and Lingard should have stayed where they at. In life, you can't run away from every situation. And that's what Martell did when Fields came here. That's when I knew he wasn't the goods. Yeah, that's what he told him, Kenny. It was something like that. Like, yeah, don't swing and miss twice. Anyway, he tweeted at Fields on some, and he didn't even directly tweet at him, but he tweeted some sneak dissing type shit to Fields. Fields came in there and took that thing, and Martell left. That's when I knew he wasn't that guy. I mean, if you were a team, would you take a guy that has more drops than catches? Just saying. I wouldn't be surprised to see Warren Thompson go play for Deion. That would not shock me. Because obviously nobody wants him. Why would you use a scholarship on a guy, again, who has more drops than catches? Because remember, these transfer players, they take up scholarships. Concrete Hard No, what up, man? Don't we have LSU, Bama? Is it LSU, Bama, and Georgia? I thought we had a home and home with LSU. Now I could be wrong. Maybe it was just one game against LSU. So maybe it's LSU. Then maybe, and I knew Bama was on there somewhere. I didn't know Georgia. But it might be. You might be right. It might be LSU, Bama, and Georgia. Absolutely. I mean, that's a tough schedule. That's a tough schedule. LSU, that's my second team. You know who I'm rooting for. Yeah. We playing UGA in like 2028. Rough Rider laughing. We start a series with Georgia in 2027. That's what I'm saying, man. Our schedule's booked up for like the next 5 years or something. So would I love to see us play A&M one day in the future? I absolutely would. I just don't see it happening. Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. AR, be careful what you wish for. We're going to be a different team come 2027. I'm saying it here right now. Bold prediction. Not really. We're going to be a different team in 2027, damn it. I don't know if that means we good or bad, but we will be a different team in 2027. When Martell couldn't even beat out Malik Rozier or N'Kosi Perry, that's all I needed to know about him. Again, I knew he wasn't. I knew Martell wasn't good before he got to Miami. You talk all that trash only to leave. You running. AR10, y'all got to come to Tallahassee. Kane said, you don't have a second favorite? No, I don't. I can't speak for everybody. In basketball, I do. But in football, I don't. So like in the NFL, I root for the Bucs, but I also mainly root for Florida State players in the NFL. So I was rooting for the Rams because Cam Akers was doing his things in this playoffs, and I'll root for the Vikings, and I'll root for I'll root for Florida State players in the pros. When all else fails, I'll go for the hometown team, the Tampa Bay Bucs. In college football, it's Florida. It's FSU 100%. I got no second team. I have no second team when it comes to college. I don't give a damn about no other college program. And in the NBA, I'm a Knicks fan first, but I also root for the hometown team, the Orlando Magic. So there's that. But when it comes to college ball, FSU 100%, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. y'all know what I'm saying. I just can't do it. I'm too deep on this floor in this Florida State stuff. I can't do it. I got stepkids in Tallahassee. Well, them stepkids about the you know them stepkids tell their daddy, AR, you ain't my daddy, shut up. Them stepkids going you ain't my daddy. Stepkids about to fight you. Right, stepdaddy. Knows only, no second. Absolutely. I don't feel like Josh Griffiths is giving 100% on defense. That's kind of hard to judge, man. Don't want to put that out there on the kid. I don't know if he's putting 100%. I gotta assume a freshman is playing 100%, man. I gotta assume a freshman is playing 100%. We'll see. I have so much respect for Cam Akers. He did wonders considering who he had blocking for him. I just got some fire FSU shorts in the mall today. I pretty much hate every other team other than UNC. North Carolina, really. College sports, really. Again, when I look at college, I don't vibe with any other team. College is such a unique sport, man, in my opinion. The college game, whether you're talking football or basketball, because it's like a bigger connection with the fans when you start talking college ball for whatever reason. I don't know why, but the fans and the connection to the schools just run way deeper when you talk college sports than professional sports. Manny Diaz needs to push his feelings aside and give N'Kosi Perry that green light this spring if he wants the job. I think Perry should stay. I would think that if he doesn't stay, I still think he's going to Florida. I think that situation in Florida is set up perfectly for Perry to come in and be the guy day one. JT Daniels, 2021 Heisman candidate. We'll see. We'll see. Family histories with UNC. So that makes sense. AR10, what would you rather have, a Heisman trophy or a natty? I would hope the man would say a Heisman. Excuse me, a national championship. The hell with Heisman. Them boys got on a 40-year drought. Georgia's damn near virgins in this football game. But I would hope he said national championship. You absolutely right. Manny don't play the best players available. That's going to be his downfall. Ask Kirby Smart if he'd still start Jake Fromm. Kirby has a history of messing up that quarterback situation over there in Georgia. Is FSU playing against UNC? We do play UNC this upcoming season. UNC is on the schedule. UNC is on the schedule. And Sargent wants that natty. I would hope so. My second team's LSU, LA Lakers, and anybody who plays Dallas, because it's funny when they lose. See, and that's why professional sports is, not that I don't take it serious, but you got people in Florida who ain't never been to LA. And I'm not saying, I don't know, Kane, Zay, if you ever been to Los Angeles or not. The point is, you got people in Florida who've never been to LA, they Lakers fans, or never been to New England, never been to Boston, they Patriots fans, or never been to Dallas and they Cowboys. Pro sports is so different in the sense of you can just pick a team. You could just pick a team in like a professional sport. You know what I mean? But there's no way in college a kid is born and raised in Florida and he says, oh, my favorite college football team is the Texas Longhorns. It just doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work like that. So I think that's why that's the unique thing with the college game and the professional game. Because legitimately, most people root for home. But for whatever reason, that professional game, not every state has big-time professional teams. So people will follow players, and I like the Lakers because of Kobe, or I like Dallas because of whoever, and that's America's team, and everybody likes Dallas, so I like Dallas. That kind of thing goes. But that's like with me. Like I only reason I like the Knicks is because my dad was a Knicks fan, so I took that up. But there was no way I was going to grow up. Hell, where I grew up, I should have been a Gator fan. I grew up in Lakeland, Florida. I played Pop Warner for the Lakeland Gators. Where I grew up, I should have been a Lakeland fan. But it just wasn't in me. But there was no way I was going to grow up in that atmosphere, in that environment, and like the Syracuse Orange or the Rutgers, or you know what I mean, or Virginia Tech. It just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that, especially in the college game. It just doesn't work like that. I think UGA or Oklahoma wins it next year. Had nothing to do with Kirby, fellas. Salute the Fields. He might be a dirty bird in April. But the Noles are coming soon. Georgia out there playing defense like the Packers, or they would have beat Bama. That loss hurt me. I was rooting. After that, I said I'll never root for Georgia ever again in my life. I was rooting for Georgia in that game, and they had that game. What up, Duval? No. If N'Kosi Perry goes to Florida, he would definitely save Mullen's job next year. I think so. I think Florida's the perfect situation for him. Like how Lil Wayne is a damn Packers fan. Exactly. LeBron James is a Cowboy fan. Now, for PR purposes, you'll see LeBron James shout out, because a lot of people don't know this. And I'm going to put you on game right now because LeBron said it himself in an interview. LeBron did not grow up like in the Ohio State Buckeyes. LeBron puts on for Ohio State and the Cleveland Browns and these other Cleveland teams because it's a PR move for being from Akron, Ohio, Everybody knows LeBron likes the Yankees, the Cowboys. Oh, and guess who his favorite football team was growing up? The Seminoles. Not a coincidence. He grew up in the 90s. Who were the dominant teams in the 90s? Oh, I don't know. The Cowboys, the Yankees, and the Seminoles. So that's just the way this thing goes. Being from a place in Cleveland or Akron/Cleveland, Ohio, who the hell would root for any of those Cleveland teams? So it's not a surprise that LeBron likes everything outside of there. But today, he puts on for PR purposes because you don't turn your back on the city, so to speak. That's why he always shouts out the Cleveland teams. But everybody knows LeBron didn't grow up liking any of those Cleveland teams. Panama, yes, sir. Saban is 22-0 versus the former assistant. Shields looks up Georgia's defense. Shields look up Georgia defense rankings. What you talking about, AR? You must be answering somebody's question or something. I got you. I'm a Falcons fan. Saints are supposed to be our rival, but I don't really give a damn about them. But there are about 20 teams that I despise in college and 2 that I want to burn to the ground. Right. Name your starters on offense in 2021. We'll get to that, Rough Rider. Because when you look at who's coming on campus, I mean, the starters on offense, they're not really going to differ from what we already talked about as far as the depth chart for spring. The only thing that's going to differ is you're going to add Parchment to that wide receiving room. If you land Hill, you're going to add Hill. If you can find an offensive tackle, you'll add him. But from what we know, you're going to add Parchment to the receiver room. And that's it. I don't think anybody else, I mean, can Rod Orr crack the depth chart off the bat? Not too sure. So the starters are going to be Mackenzie Milton, Ja'Shawn Corbin, Toa Feely, Parchment, the other receiver. Me personally, I would put Dustin Hill, but we're going to act like Dustin Hill's not on the roster because it's not a foregone conclusion that we get him. Opposite of Parchment, I guess I'll say Ontario Wilson opposite of Parchment because I don't know who that number 2 receiver is and who's going to emerge. Tight end's going to be Cam McDonald. Love Taylor's going to be your left tackle. Lucas at guard. Maurice Smith at center. Probably Bavion at the other guard, even though I might go Darius Washington at the right guard and Robert Scott at right tackle. I'm from North Carolina, and I've been an FSU fan for almost 30 years. Go figure. I was born and raised in Seminole. My dad went to school there, and I do believe the schedule comes out this Thursday. So the issue should see where is it laid out for all the teams we play. Like you said, because they swag is like us. They remind me of us. No disrespect, but FSU don't try to be like us. Oh man, that's that Miami thought process. They always want us to try to be like Miami. I hope you aren't a Lakeland Dreadnought. No, I was a Lake Gibson Brave. Wayne, I was a Brave, not a Dreadnought. I was a coach in the 96 at high school. They drug us in the playoffs. That loss still hurts. You know, the Dreadnoughts are usually a powerhouse, but nope. I was a Brave. When I went to Lake Gibson, that's when we had Matt Grothy at quarterback. So yeah, I'm a Brave. They made a rap video back in the day trying to create swag. They did make a rap video. I'm not gonna lie. The rap video wasn't that great either. The rap video wasn't that great. Yeah, the pro leagues don't really matter to me. I'm just a huge Brady fan. Well, there you go. What's up, Polk? I live in Omaha, but one of the biggest FSU fans in the Midwest, and everyone hates it. Hello, went to the 94 game between me and FSU. That's crazy that a guy from Nebraska, when Nebraska was dominant, like Nebraska was dominant in the 90s. The fact that you ended up being a FSU fan is crazy. For real, you need to go look at Stanford Samuel's hit on Roscoe Parrish and come back and tell me who has the swag. Kane, they coming at you now. Come on now, Polk. The Noles were the team of the 90s because we were on sanctions. We won a natty my birth year in 91. Look, man, we had a team in the 90s because of sustained excellence. I don't care about none of them sanctions. I can't control them sanctions. We don't care about sanctions. AR just saying they should have had the safety over the top. Pop say I was in the crib while they watched the natty. I was basically born into this. You see the video Nico posted on Twitter? It looks like a 7-on-7. He's wearing an FSU hat. To Nico's credit, most of the times I see pictures of him, he's in FSU gear. Most of the pictures that I've seen of Nico, very similar to Hunter. He's pretty much always in FSU gear. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything. Only time I've seen him in Gator gear was when he took the visit to the Gators. And then you compare what he was wearing in that and compare to what he was wearing at Florida State. He had way more Florida State on than he had the Gator stuff on. So I think he's a no, man. That's Miami's fault. They got sanctioned. That's what I'm saying. We don't control the sanctions. I don't care about them sanctions. I don't want to use that as an excuse. Y'all weren't on sanctions for 10 years. And FSU's dominance started from what, 87 on? 87 to what, 2000 to 1999, 2000? I'll say 2000. Y'all wasn't on no decade-long sanctions. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. Give credit where it's due, Canes, eh? What else we got? I think that's all we got today, guys. We're going on 2 hours strong, so for a show that really didn't have a lot of notes, I think we really we covered a lot today, man. What Wayne say? No one cares about your sanctions. You shouldn't have sold those Bucs. Too bad, so sad. Go Noles. Thank you, Wayne. Tell him. Nico posted some vid of on his LG story yesterday with a Gator hat. That dude is so confusing. I've seen him in more Florida State gear than anything else, but he was on campus at Gainesville, so gotta keep the spectators honest. I don't blame them. Keep them honest. Maybe he ends up being a Gator. We'll see. Maybe he ends up being a Gator. But again, we're going on 2 hours, and I got nothing else tonight. So I'm just reading the comments now. If we can keep it going. Howard Schellenberger, when he talked about building the Hurricane program, he made Florida State the blueprint of how to make a successful program. Anybody hear about the NCAA put Notre Dame. It was Notre Dame. There was a couple schools, Panama. It all came off of that Savell Smalls recruitment, but it was a Notre Dame and I think a couple of other schools, and I can't remember. But yeah, I did hear about that. I think it was Notre Dame, maybe USC. Wasn't Florida in the mix of that? There are a few schools in the mix of that probation you're talking about, Panama. Bro, on the Florida visit, he had just a Gators hat on and a Gator mask. That's what I'm saying. If you go back and watch those pictures, he had on some Gator gear, but when he was on that Florida State trip, he was decked like head to toe. When you go to watch the Gator visit, he had on, like he said, a hat, a mask, and that's it. So I think we all know where he's leaning. But I'm going to cut it short today. Today was a good episode of The Hangover. And thanks everybody who tuned in, hit the like button. Shout out to y'all. If you didn't hit the like button on your way in, please hit the like button on your way out. Rain, sleet, snow, whatever, man, we doing this thing. We continue to grow. We are less than 200 away from 1,000. So we're going to keep pushing and striving for that accomplishment. Tyler says Nico's a no. Absolutely. And let the haters hate. Let them continue to come. But we're going to keep doing our thing over here, man. Over here on 863 Seminole TV. Thanks to everybody who tuned in, showed the support. Shout out to the new subscribers. Good night, Wanda. Thanks, Panama. And just shout out to everybody who comes in on the routine basis and supports me, supports this channel. We're going to continue to do things over here. And we got some good things coming in the future. I promise you that. But like always, stay classy, Seminoles. Stay classy to all my stepchildren, whether it's AR and them Georgia fans, the Miami fans, all my step kids. Y'all stay classy. Y'all behave yourselves out there too over there in Miami world. Behave yourself. And like always, we out. Cheer. Y'all have a good night.